up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host. Oh, guess what? It's not Derek! What's up, everybody? I am Kate, and I am one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some classic Disney on the platform. So make sure you don't miss any episodes. Go and subscribe. We are on all podcast platforms. Leave us a 5-star review so that more people find out about the Plus Platoon and join us as fellow tuners. I don't even care that everybody doesn't like that term. I'm using it. But one person does not a platoon make. So let's bring in one of my friends. Who we got? Pete! Oh, nope, no Pete.
Wait, I'm here.
Oh, Pete, how are you over there?
I am here. I am on vacation in Lake Tahoe, but I had to come on and talk about West Side Story with my tuners.
Yes.
The power went out right before the show here in Lake Tahoe, and amazingly enough, the power also went out in Kansas literally at the exact same moment. So this is the thing about live podcasting. Things can go crazy. So that's the reason that Derek is not here with us.
Yes.
And hopefully, Kate is going to host and I'm going to do the news for the first time ever. So I'm excited.
Nick said, oh snap, Kate the Great Plus Platoon takeover. But we also have another tuner with us. Gina, where you at?
I'm here. Hi.
She's here. We are small but mighty tonight. We're hoping that Derek's going to be able to join us if he can hopefully get power back or Serverse or something. Derek, we miss you, but we will see you super, super soon. And y'all, it's time for the Disney Plus news, but not from me. Pete, you go.
You're here. Here we go.
All right, Disney Plus news. Time for the Disney Plus news. All right, there's quite a bit of news. So Disney won some Oscars just this last Sunday. Encanto took home the award for Best Animated Feature. Awesome. And then Cruella won for Best Costume Design. I can totally see that. And Ariana DeBose won for Best Supporting Actress for playing Anita in West Side Story. And to point out that is the same role that was won 60 years before, playing Anita. And why is my brain blanking out? It was she was in the movie Rita Moreno. Sorry.
Nailed it. You're doing great, Pete.
So,
You're doing great.
It's not written down here. Disney has also announced that The Full Monty will become a limited series on Disney Plus and will include some of the original cast and the creative team. Little bit of a weird choice, but I mean, I remember liking that movie, but is that really going to be a selling point for people to
like? Isn't The Full Monty like?
It's a little racy, right?
It's yeah,
a little racy.
Well, it's naked men,
right? So we'll see.
But yeah, we'll find out what happens. And then Disney has confirmed that Moon Knight will be behind the age restriction barrier on its service. They recently put this in place. The rating will be 16 plus and indicates that it is not necessarily going to be your typical Marvel fare. And we're going to be talking about Moonlight a little bit later in the episode. And then last but not least, Ryan Coogler, who is the director of the first Black Panther movie and Black Panther 2, is helping with the development of the new Marvel series Ironheart. The show will star Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams / Ironheart and is planned for 6 episodes. And the character will actually make her debut in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Awesome.
Also, Mighty Ducks Game Changers, one more thing, has announced more cast and the plot for season 2. The Ducks, after winning the name, go to a summer hockey camp to focus on hockey without school in the way. The tagline is, "Can you win the summer?" And I think the tuners here are all very excited for Mighty Ducks 2. I think it was one of our, Mighty Ducks season 2. I think that was one of the shows that we liked the best of as far as like general everybody liking it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will say that if you are a Marvel person and you have been following Daredevil, that Foggy on Daredevil is one of the original Mighty Ducks members who was in the first season. So
Love it.
It all just.
And since I have the focus, before we get into West Side Story,
Yes,
I was not on last week's episode, and I just wanted to make one comment, not about the movie Turning Red itself, but I want to give a shout out to Pixar because they have now done 4 movies in a row: Onward, Soul, Luca, and now Turning Red, that are very personal movies for the people that developed them. And whether you liked them all or didn't like one of them or whatever, I got to give that studio a ton of credit for that, in that they are not just looking at what kind of story can give us the biggest box office. Let's just make Incredibles 3 and Cars 4 or whatever. And they're having people within their studio giving them the chance to develop these movies and release these movies. And I understand, not every movie is going to hit with everyone, but oh my gosh, I really hope they keep this up, because where else in Hollywood is this being done? I mean, there's so few very personal movies being made, and it really makes me happy to see these kind of movies being released. As I said, I mean, like Onward, I did not like that movie. Just didn't work for me. But the fact that they're allowing people to make personal movies, I think it's great. So I just had to make that comment.
Awesome.
Ooh, I'm so glad you added that in, Pete. And we missed you last week. But I'm so glad that you added that in. I agree. I agree that I am glad that Pixar is taking the stories that they're taking and making the choices they're making, because they're all great. Even if it's not the movie for us, they're still good. So
that's a great point.
Speaking of movies may or may not being the movie for us, this week we watched the movie musical West Side Story. If you don't know about West Side Story, if you haven't watched it, remember, we are going to give spoilers, but it's basically a modern day Romeo and Juliet. And I have thoughts, but I am going to throw it to Gina first.
Yes, I will.
Is the new movie feeling pretty?
Oh my goodness. So I have lots of emotions about this.
Me too.
Here is my school teacher 2-minute blurb. I teach school. I feel like one of my former students went out in the world and he's like, "Hey, Miss Grotsky, I redid West Side Story and I want you to come watch it." So I went to the high school, and I watched it, and I said, "You know what? For being 18 and just trying out to get on your own, you did a fine job." However, it's not a former student of mine. It's the master, Steven Spielberg. And this movie, oh my gosh, Steven, are you trying to be woke? Like, what is going on with you? I just had so many feelings, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Uncle Steve, what is going on? I don't know. So was the new movie feeling pretty? Not especially. It was, if it was my 18-year-old student from 2nd grade doing this. But with Uncle Steve Spielberg as the director, I just thought he could do better and be less of what it was. First of all, I think you're going to mention it, Kate, but the casting was just so off in every way. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Tony. That's not Tony. What is going on? The whole Tony was the worst, right? And I was like, if my high school student cast Tony, I'd be okay with it. But anyway, that's my 2-minute teacher blurb. Steve, do better. All right.
Girl,
Kate, what about you?
I'm going to go A lot longer than 2 minutes. So I have made no secret of the fact that I am a musicals person. I am a musical theater person. I am a documentary person. I was expecting to love this. When this came out, all of my musical theater friends were like, walk or run, do not walk, do not sleep on West Side Story. It's so good. Full disclosure, I've never been a huge West Side Story fan. I've seen it. I have seen the original. I have seen it on stage. I've seen it done different ways. I wanted to love this. I wanted to love it, and I wanted to come on and be like, all of you are wrong. This musical's phenomenal. I wanted so bad. And there are moments in it that are very good. Overall, and let me preface this by saying I have been trying to figure out if it's that I didn't like this production or if I just don't care for West Side Story in general. But I will say West Side Story is not one of my favorite musicals. Yeah. So, yes, the casting, other than Anita was flawless. She was so good. In fact, she stole the entire movie. She could not have performed better. She deserved the Oscar that she got. Like, so good. The song America, which is led by Anita, was the best song of the entire movie. Is it Rita Moreno? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is it Rita Moreno?
Yes. Yes, it is.
The choice to have her sing Somewhere. I literally have goosebumps just thinking about that number.
I was very good with that. Bringing her back.
Yes, I was very okay. Like my whole body, if you can see my whole body's goosebumps just thinking about that number. That was a brilliant choice. The other than Rita and maybe Maria, maybe.
In some scenes. In some scenes she was good.
Casting did not hit for me. Go ahead, Pete.
No, you finish.
The casting didn't hit for me. I didn't fall in love with Tony like I'm supposed to. In fact, I was like, is he actually straight? Like,
yeah. No, exactly. No. Sorry, not
like,
sorry.
Yeah, he just I understand that what year was this roughly set in?
1958.
55, yes. Yeah. Late 50s.
Late 50s. So I get the setting. The Jets to me looked like a bunch of really skinny white boys. And I get it. That's technically what they're supposed to be. I didn't buy it. And that was hard for me. The choice, some of the choices that were made, a change that was made was in the song Boy, 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 Crazy Boy. It was more the friends trying to talk Tony into using a gun instead of the nah, stay cool. We're going to win this. Like, nah, just cool. And that I was like, nah, that doesn't work for me. This isn't it. So it wasn't my favorite. I know I had more to say. There were some brilliant moments. The dancing, other than in America was
high school. It was a high school play. It felt so high school to me.
Yeah, the dancing wasn't. I was expecting to have my mind blown, and there were only moments that blew my mind. The show as a whole, Hamilton, blew my mind all the way across.
Yeah.
This, I wanted to love it. So, Pete, sorry I took so long. You go.
No, that's okay, because I think I got to talk a while too. So maybe it's good Derek isn't here, because
we have opinions.
I would agree with Kate. This isn't high up on my favorite musicals, but it is pretty high up there. It's probably my top 10 favorite musical movies. because a lot of musicals don't
Wow.
translate well. And
Agreed.
I think the original movie for its time was really a stellar version. The songs are fantastic. Almost every single one of the songs, when it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, I know this song. You know, which
Yeah.
for most musicals, there's no way you know every song.
Right.
So I went into this movie with like, okay, we're remaking it. It is 60 years old. And I'll be honest, Natalie Wood and I forget Richard Beamer, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
not really super great as Tony and Maria in the original, in my opinion. So I think there was room for improvement. So I go into this very open-minded, being like, okay, let's see what you're gonna give me.
Yep.
What you gave me was a movie that was basically the same. Like, they didn't add anything really to this movie. It was set in the same time period. It it this I don't know what if I would have liked it better if they changed the songs, but they basically kept the song styles the same. They kept the dancing style the same. They set it in the same time frame. Some things were better. I thought I will disagree with you on Maria. I thought she was fantastic in the role.
That's fair.
I will totally agree with you on Tony. I thought he was the weakest. He was very high school stage acting, I thought.
Yeah.
And but I thought overall, I thought the acting was fine. I thought the songs were fine. I thought some of the presentations of some of the songs were better than the original. But like I really liked how they did the Officer Krupke song with having them all
Yep.
in the
The
station, kind
detention.
of locked
Yeah.
in the station.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, the America, I thought that was the way they choreographed that and everything.
So good.
But it didn't. The movie just didn't give me anything to say why it was made, because it was the same. I mean, it was. I kept thinking to the live action Lion King. Like, I'm watching this movie, and it's not that it's bad, but it's completely. It's not giving me anything new, really. You know, you mentioned like a couple different things. I mean, changing the Doc character to Rita Moreno. I thought that was kind of cool, but it was all just little tiny changes. It was mostly the same thing, and like, so how do I rate this? Because I love the original movie, and this is kind of the same thing, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to. Because like, if you've never seen the original, is this good enough that it would impress you? I don't know. It's, I don't. I've never gone into like giving a pixie dust rating that I didn't know
Yeah.
how to rate it. I mean, it's great
Yeah.
music.
Yep.
I thought the choreography was fine. I'm not a musical theater person, so I'm maybe not as observant in that regard as Kate, but I thought the dancing was fine. I don't know. It's just
It
See,
don't.
fell flat.
it
Yeah.
did. It did.
It
And
fell flat.
even Ryan said it was a $100 million budget, which I did not know. And this didn't feel like that.
Absolutely not.
You agreed. And one of the most, as a dancer, one of the most iconic dance numbers from this musical is not Maria. It's the dance at the dance. It's the dance in the gym.
Yes.
That is the dun 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 mambo. That is the iconic. And I was literally like, this is it? Like, I almost wish, and Pete, you said this. I almost wish that they had, or either Pete, you said it, or somebody on the side said it. I don't remember who did. That I almost wish that they had done it in today's world, a modern
That was
world.
Steve. I agree with Steve 100%.
Steve,
I was wanting
and
that
I was gonna say that too, because if you'd taken it and maybe not even said it modern, like current, but set it like right after 9/11,
yes. That
yes,
would have been great.
like 2000, set it in 2001, 2002, and you're still telling the story, because things haven't changed, right? I mean, there's still racial tensions in
Yes.
this country, in New York City, everything like that.
Mhm.
And I could totally see, like, by setting it at the same time period they did, again, they didn't add anything
Right.
to it.
Yeah.
And bring in in my opinion, set it don't try to be the original. If you're going to do a remake, try to put your own breath into it. Set in yes, late or early 2000s and bring in the choreographer from Hamilton. And also the choreo, so like that iconic dance at the gym still has that where they come together and then they separate and then people start like there are iconic moments in that have to be done, but put a modern spin on it, put some hip hop into it, just to
Mhm.
make it because you're right, Pete, like, I thought when you were because before this, everybody, for those of you that don't know, obviously us tuners are actually friends in real life. And so we do discuss a tiny bit, not a lot, but a tiny bit, what we think before the episode. And Pete kept just saying, I have a lot to say. I think I have a lot to say. And Pete, I wasn't sure where you were gonna go with this, but I actually agree with pretty much everything you said,
Mhm.
including Maria. Maria really was she had that innocence about her that you need for Maria. And even Steve said the actress that played Maria
Oh, sorry,
had
Steve.
just graduated from high school. Are you
That was
kidding
great.
me?
That was great. Perfect age, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, she had that innocence and like she's not supposed to be the feisty scene stealer that Rita is. Rita is
Right.
supposed to be feisty. She's supposed to be like "Rah!" So, Nick said Maria's acting was okay. Loved her voice. Absolutely. Curious how Kate feels about Romeo and Juliet. Love the songs of West Side Story. The storyline not as much. I studied Romeo and Juliet in high school. We said when we studied Shakespeare in theater. It's never been my favorite story choice just because I actually enjoy a happy ending. Um, it, I feel it's fine, but if you're gonna do it, be original about it. And I wish that this had taken
Let me
more of
read
a
you what
modern.
let me read you what Derek said.
Yes.
So to him, this is an adaptation of the musical with the same songs, not a remake. The 1961 takes the Broadway almost line for line. If this is an adaptation, fine, but don't sell it as a remake, which is what most of the material led people to believe. I think we all believed it was going to be a different movie. Yes, there's not people in brownface. That's about the only thing this has going for it. But I felt like it should just be brownface because it was so woke. It was just made me like, thanks, Eddie from my high school. That's how I just felt. Thanks, Eddie from my
Yeah.
second grade class.
Yeah.
A Rumble original had
let
tone.
me ask this question. A lot of the dialogue from the Latinas was in Spanish.
Yes.
Did you find
Yes.
that, like, maybe that's what you're talking about, like it's woke?
Yes.
But did you but because you
Did you turn
didn't
your
really,
subtitles on? I understand Spanish, so I was fine with it.
I had subtitles on, but it didn't
well,
give the translation.
the subtitles were still in Spanish.
Yeah, it didn't give the
And I
translation.
mean, I knew the movie, so I knew well enough what was going on that it didn't bother me per se, but I thought it was an odd choice
Mm-hmm.
to it not at, I mean, if you're going to have the character speak in Spanish, fine, but put
Right.
closed captioning with English
And they were
so
using
that,
swear words. They were using a lot of words that are Spanish, like Puerto Rican. They were using the
right.
correct words, and it was Puerto Rican Spanish. But I did think that too. I didn't put subtitles on, so I thought maybe they would have a subtitle. They didn't even subtitle in English. Wow.
No, and going back to, a movie we watched a little while ago and just won an Academy Award also, Encanto, if you watch that with the subtitles on, it actually translated the Spanish songs into English in the subtitles so that
That's great.
you could see
Yeah.
what the song was trying to express. And I thought that was wonderful that they did that in that movie. And so it's a little weird that, as I said, I mean, it's a fine choice to have him speak in Spanish. That's probably how they would talk,
Yes.
but like at least have subtitles so that all of your audience can understand
Yeah.
what
And
is
again,
going on.
Stevie Spielberg, you're not in high school. You can't intentionally do that. You are
Steve, I would like to know if you know the reasoning behind that. I would love if you would toss that into the chat, because I would love to know. I hadn't
Yes.
heard that, so I'd love to know the reasoning behind that.
And where I'm at with it is still, he's not in high school. He's not trying to prove himself as a new person. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Get it
Stevie,
together.
Get it together, Stevie. Well, while we are waiting for Steve
Little
to fill us
Stevie
in,
Spielberg still making movies in his
Yes, that's
backyard.
what I feel like. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. So while we are waiting for Steve to give us the lowdown, the next question would be: should movie musicals continue to be Hollywood features? And I will kick this one off. This is a tough one for me because, like one of the two of you jokers said it earlier, that there are some musicals that translate really, really well to film. Chicago is a perfect example. To me, there is no better movie musical than Chicago. Let me rephrase. There is no better musical that started as a musical than was moved to
adaptation.
film.
Yes.
Singing in the Rain, brilliant movie musical. Absolute genius. But that started as a movie.
Right.
Chicago, in my opinion, is almost better in film because of the brilliance that they can do. Hairspray, Mamma Mia.
I like Hairspray as a movie, but no, Mamma Mia. No.
Hairspray was fine.
Fine,
So,
yes.
But here's the thing: is I'm a musical person, and had Hamilton not come to Disney Plus to give people a vision of what live theater is like. What are so many people who wouldn't have even known? Oh my gosh, this is when people talk about theater, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Like, I want people to know, like, nah, theater's cool. Musical theater is cool. You can find someone to identify with. So I would like to see it continue, but you have all of Broadway to choose from. People who are ridiculously talented. Stop trying to cast big name actors into shows when they can't sing and they can't dance and they can probably act, but when they can't sing and they can't dance. If you are going to do a musical, cast it correctly. I digress.
Well, I will say they did not go with stars in this movie, though. You have to admit that. I mean, even Ansel Elgort or whatever his name is. I mean, he was in Baby Driver, but other than that, he really hadn't done much. So I don't fault them for, because I think that was the problem with Mamma Mia, was that let's cast a bunch of very famous people that can't sing. But
Cat, as Nick has said, Cat.
Cat says glorious problems. But
I didn't understand it on Broadway, let alone in the movie. Broadway, I'm like, what is this? I went out during intermission. What is this supposed to be about?
Awful.
But so and Steve just posted his comment about the subtitles.
Wow, would be lessening the representation of the Latinx cast. Wow.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either. Luckily, I understand Spanish and I knew what they were saying, but I think about that. What if it was in Japanese? I'd be very upset not knowing what they were talking about.
And again, why not fix the subtitles? If I only speak Spanish and I watch that movie, I'm going to put on the Spanish subtitles so I can understand what the English-speaking people are saying.
Yeah.
Why not at least put the option that you can put the subtitles on and see what?
Not having the subtitles in the actual movie, I'm fine with that. But if I turn on the subtitles to see what they're saying, I do that with Irish Brogue sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. I have to turn on.
Some British shows we turn on the subtitles because we can't get it. But back to the subject at hand. Movie musicals, I keep making them. look, I'm the type of person, because it was like, oh, they're going to ruin Star Wars because Disney owns Star Wars. No, keep making Star Wars. Some of it's going to work, some of it isn't. Keep making
Yes.
musicals. Some of it's going to work, some
Yes.
of it doesn't. I really enjoyed Hairspray, the musical,
I actually
the
did
movie
too.
version of it. And
Okay. Can I jump in 1 second?
yeah, go
I
ahead.
loved the movie version of Hairspray. I did not like the live television version
Okay.
of Hairspray.
Yeah, that's those they should stop,
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad if they stopped those,
because
but
that doesn't really work for the most part.
agreed.
No.
Agreed.
But like, you also mentioned, besides Hairspray, you mentioned Mamma Mia. I really loved the musical, the stage musical. I thought the movie, I know a lot of people loved the movie. I thought the movie poorly represented the stage
Right.
musical. And so I think I'm fine with them at some point we're going to get an actual version of Hamilton. There's no doubt in my mind. I
Right.
mean, they released the stage version, which I think was a brilliant thing to do. But at some point, someone's going to come along and say, "There's too much money on the table. We're going to have to make this movie." So I say keep making musicals, make original musicals, make redo stage musicals. I'm all for it. What about you, Gina?
So I have two, mine and Derek's. So I'll go fast and then I'll read Derek's. So for me, I say sure, make them. I actually prefer the opposite, where they do the movie and then they turn it into a musical. I actually love those. I saw Flashdance, I saw Dirty Dancing, Grease. I love when they do the movie first and then they do the play after, because I feel like, ooh, I already know the whole story and I know what's going on. So that I prefer that, based on when they switch it over, when they do the Broadway and they bring it to film, there's just something lost in that live experience. I just feel like, I don't know, they just didn't capture the story. I didn't connect with the characters. So I prefer when they take the movie and turn it into the Broadway musical, rather than taking the musical and turning it into a movie. That's my 2 cents. And with Derek, he doesn't know, he kind of agrees with me. He thinks that watching the big budget musical with the soaring set pieces coming to the big screen, he likes that part. He likes the what is it called, the pageantry from the movie into the movie. And he's like, why isn't there a Wicked movie? There hasn't been a Wicked movie yet. So that's true.
There will be. It's been in
That's
the
right.
works. Well, wait.
I think it's in the works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And yeah,
what's her name?
Adina?
Ariana Grande is going to be
right.
Glinda.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they cast Ariana Grande as Glinda.
Okay. Yeah, he says Les Mis didn't work that well. 1776, he liked. Ignore the
Sit
set.
down, John. That's a great movie.
And then he said Phantom of the Opera didn't work. Forget About Cats. In the Heights didn't work. True, In the Heights was terrible.
You think so? I was okay with it.
I haven't seen it, actually.
The movie version just falls flat because you just don't connect with the characters the way you do when they're on stage.
Yeah.
Did they ever make a Rent movie? Because I
They
don't think
did.
I'd ever.
Oh,
I don't think
yeah.
I'd ever watched that.
It's
loved
the original
musical.
cast. It's the original
Okay, so
Broadway
is it better? Is it better because they use the original people, or do you feel like they're just separated?
There is something about sitting in a theater with that story, as opposed to sitting. You're right, Gina. There's something about connecting with the cast and sitting in a theater close to that.
Yeah, It's the connection. And then that's why I prefer when they make the movie into the musical, because I don't really care about the cast as much, because I'm like, oh, I know the story. It's fine.
Right.
And then, And then he did say there is something about being accessible to people who can't get to Broadway. So why don't they just film like they did Hamilton, film the Broadway theater and bring that to the...
I don't think that always works either, though.
Really? Because you can't connect.
Yeah, it's different when you're watching something on stage than just watching a stage version on a screen. I am okay with the idea of, and I think that's why the original West Side Story is so good, is that it was expanded from the stage. So another one, I mean, Kate mentioned great movies from stage musicals. I think we got to say Sound of Music.
Yeah, another one.
Because that was a stage musical that is not nearly as good as the movie is.
No, the movie.
Agreed.
I thought it was a movie first. I actually thought it was a
It
movie
is a movie
before.
first, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, see, the movie is better. The movie first turning into the musical. I'm okay.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a stage musical first.
Somebody Google it and let
Somebody
us know.
in the world.
I mean, Grease was a movie before it was a stage show.
And I
also
love it both.
wildly inappropriate for high schoolers to do, but a lot of high schools do it. And
we all did it. We all did it.
Yeah, we all did it. Oklahoma.
1959 Sound of Music on Broadway.
Oh wow. Okay,
Well,
that's a better movie.
Before?
Movie was 1960.
Wild. I did not know that.
1964 or something like that.
Wild. Wild. All right. Well, everybody, it is time. Actually, wait, we got to talk about. So Nick said, I'm with Kate. So many incredible Broadway performers. Why use big Hollywood stars who can't sing? The best choices are right in New York City. And so many Broadway, like look at Idina Menzel. She is known not just, and yes, was she in the original Broadway cast of like 4 different shows? Yup. But she's also known as Elsa. She's known in other things. So Nick, you and I we're right here, my friend. Steve said most of the dancers in the movie were from Broadway. That, yes, I did know that. It's the leads, man. You got to get leads who can sing. It's like La La Land. Do y'all remember La La Land?
La La Land was terrible.
Oh, it was so bad. But that's a whole nother soapbox that I won't get on. Steve said, I agree with Pete. The view is dictated by the camera, not where I necessarily would focus. That's a really good point, Steve, is where one person might focus may not be where another person would focus. That's a really, really good point. Wow. 1965 was The Sound of Music. And Ryan said, I think Lin-Manuel did it right within the Heights. He used Broadway people and the movie worked. I will be honest, I haven't watched In the Heights. I need to go watch it. But y'all, it is time for the Pixie Dust rating. And Gina, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I'm giving it a 2.5. It's getting the 0.5 because of Rita Moreno's reprisal and for Anita. It's getting that 0.5. It's a 2, but those two make it a 0.5. And Derek gives it a 2.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 2 until you said that Rita Moreno reprising the role. I will give it a 2.5. Pete, what about you?
I'm going to say go watch the original movie and give that a 4. But this version, I'm going to give... I told you this was... I don't know what to do. It's a great musical. It's a wholly unnecessary movie. I'm going to split the difference, and I'm going to give it a 3.
Wow.
Kind of down the middle.
Yeah. Steve's with you. I think it's a weak 3. It's barely a 3.
I'll say this. If you're the type of person that does not like watching old movies and hasn't seen the original because it's old, sure see this version.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we talked, Nick also gave it a 3. So I dig that. You, Nick, were right here. So now that we have talked all things movie musicals, which I could talk about for hours, we could do several episodes on movie musicals. Let's jump over to the Moon Knight preview. We had the Moon Knight preview, which is the new Marvel show that's coming to Netflix. Pete, we're gonna kick it off with you. What do you want to see from this series?
Oh gosh. So what's interesting, this was such an interesting choice for Marvel to bring this character into a series. I was at the D23 convention when they announced this, She-Hulk and Miss Marvel. And She-Hulk and Miss Marvel make perfect sense for various reasons. But like Moon Knight is a super obscure character from what I know. I'm not an expert on Marvel comics at all, but of course, like when they announced it, you're like, what? Who? And so I looked up a little bit. It's a fairly obscure character, fairly violent character. He's mentally, from what they say, he's a bit mentally disturbed. He's got either multiple personality disorder, or I'm not a licensed therapist, so I don't want to. So, this, and now they announced that it's going to be, rated 16 plus. I'm super curious to see this because I do not have much of a basis onto what to think of this movie, except for what we're seeing in the trailers. And what we're seeing in the trailers is super weird. And I just, I think, oh, I'm blanking out on his name, the actor. Uh,
Poe.
Oscar
yeah,
Isaacs.
Oscar Isaac, right? I'm looking forward to seeing. I think he can be a very good actor.
Mhm.
His other Marvel role as Apocalypse in one of the X-Men movies was not good acting, but he was under so much prosthetics. I don't think he could act from that. But yeah, no, I don't know. I keep joking this is like Batman for Marvel, but I joke about that, but in a way, I don't really think it is. I think it's very different, and I, I'm I feel like we don't even know much about what the story is for this
Yeah.
series and who the bad guys are or anything. Um, so I'm excited to be surprised. What I expect from it is um, that it's still going to probably have that standard Marvel structure that there's going to be a bad guy that we think is the bad guy, and then there's going to be another person that we don't think is the bad guy that's later going to be revealed as the bad guy, and then there'll be a bigger bad guy that they don't reveal to the end of episode 5, because it seems like they've been doing that in every in every
Yeah.
single Marvel series. So I think the structure is going to be very similar to what we see, but other than that, I don't know what to expect from the series itself. So I think it's fun to have a character we have no expectations for, though.
That's true.
What about you,
Yeah.
Gina? What do you think?
Yeah. So the only thing I would like to see is a good story with some good humor. And I feel like this is going to be really dark. So I'm really got to get my hackles are kind of up for the dark factor. And I'm not used to my Marvel being super dark because that's the one thing is DC I go to for the real dark stuff. So that's the only thing that I'm hoping is that they throw in some levity because that's a fear of mine. And looking at the preview, I'm like, there's no levity. And when we saw Eternals, there was no levity. So I'm afraid they're going to go down that same path of just being story with no break. So that's, I kind of am skeptical about liking it. I'm really afraid it's going to just go down that path of the way Eternals did with this so dark and no relief. Anyway, Kate, what about you?
So literally you both just stole everything I was going to say. Quite literally. So first of all, it's very hard, and I know that actors hate this. I'm sure that Daniel Radcliffe hates the fact I can only see him as Harry Potter.
Right.
But this actor, like in the first less than 2 seconds, I was like, "Oh my God, is that Poe?" like that was how I responded, and so it was hard for me to like watch him at one point like hitting himself in the head being like Poe doesn't do that. So but that's on me. That's not the actor. That's on me. And good for him for taking something that's out of a franchise that he's kind of been pigeonholed into. So I want to remind everybody that I am watching this from that I watched this preview from a perspective of someone who is currently watching her way through all of the Marvel TV shows and movies. It's going to take me a gajillion years, but I'm doing it. We're currently in the middle of the Defenders right now. So I will say The Punisher is very, very dark. Other than The Punisher, yes, Jessica Jones is dark. Yes, Luke Cage has some dark moments. The Punisher is like really, really dark.
There's not a lot of levity.
It's like real heavy.
Yeah.
I am, there's a part of me that's kind of withholding judgment because I just don't know where they're going to take it. Are they going to take it where he's super twisted, almost like the Joker? And like Batman, because Gina said this is a Batman, it's a Marvel Batman. And from watching the trailer, I can say it's almost like Batman meets the Punisher. And I don't know how I feel about that because let's be honest, my favorite Marvel movie is Thor Ragnarok. Why? Because it's one of the funniest. And because yes, it still has heavy moments, but it has Korg, who's a breath of comedy
Relief. You get some relief. You need relief. Yeah, you need relief in that heavy part. Yeah.
Right. And so I really want to like it. And yes, Marvel could use, I guess, one like really, really dark, twisty character. But there's also so much dark, twisty stuff going on in our world that I just want to laugh. Exactly. And that's a me thing. That's not a Marvel thing. That's a me thing. So I'm going to withhold judgment.
So you ladies are making me want to make another Batman pun. Is this show The Dark Moon Knight?
The Dark Moon Knight.
Ooh, the Dark Moon Knight. Yes. Yeah. So
I have a hard time believing that Marvel will take away the humor completely. I just feel like they're going to have some sort of levity in it. Even Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was fairly heavy, still had some humor in it.
That's true.
I agree Eternals had almost no humor at all. But I think that didn't do well. So
so hopefully they're taking a turn from the darkness.
I think they realize that. So I think there will be some humor in it, but yeah, I'm not expecting it to be. Yeah. It's certainly not going to be Hawkeye humor.
No.
Right.
And then Derek's opinion is he's not looking forward to it if he's afraid it's going to be too violent. But since it's only one storyline, as a one and done, he likes that.
Yeah, so that's one point is Marvel has come out and say this is not going to be connected to the larger MCU at all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising. That they're so into doing that where there's all these little Easter eggs and connections to the other things.
Yeah.
It's a little surprising that it's going to be completely unconnected, but
we'll see. And
it's all right. It's all right.
It is. I'm just kind of sitting here going, okay, Disney Plus, what's your end game here? Because they brought all of the shows from Netflix, which are not PG. Like literally, I didn't even realize I had the sensory on, and I was like, y'all, I can't find any of these shows. And Pete was like, are you on a parental control? And I was like, I apparently parental controlled myself. Yeah. I didn't even realize I did it. And then they're bringing things like the Full Monty but it's still Disney Plus, which really mostly is geared toward kids. So I'm just a little bit curious as to like, what's Disney's end game here? Are they trying to cater to both sides?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I thought for sure they were going to take all the Defenders stuff to Hulu.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're taking I'm surprised they have all of that stuff on there, not Hulu. I'm very surprised.
So,
yeah.
It'll definitely
because that's what kind of they do with Hulu is put all the darker stuff there, all the darker Fox stuff anyways.
I am grateful that they have the parental control where like you have to do PC 16 excuse me or whatever, but and that's something that I'm gonna pay attention to and follow as we continue our Plus Platoon journey. Just like what's Disney's end goal here? So any final words on Moon Knight?
It's coming up next week, so we're going to be talking about it.
That's what I was literally about to say. Everybody, if you are joining us next week, we are going to be talking all things Moon Knight. The Moon Knight premiere will happen. Looking at all of you Marvel fans. We may have a guest appearance. I'm not sure yet. We're trying to figure that out, but I hope to see you there. I know, speaking for myself and all of the tuners, we love it. Not only when you tune in live every Tuesday, but when you join us on the podcasts, you let us know your thoughts. Speaking of letting us know your thoughts, if there is something that you are watching that you'd like us to talk about, oh my gosh, send us an email. We want to hear from you. We want to talk about what you are watching. So this isn't just a bunch of us sitting around. Well, it is, but we want to talk about what you are watching. So make sure that you reach out to us Gina, do you know? I should know the. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was looking at the Google Doc. Plusplatoon@gmail.com. Make sure that you reach out. Let us know what you're watching. Keep in contact with us. You all are doing awesome. Also, please go like and subscribe to all of that. We are on every single platform. Just put in Plus Platoon. You will find us. And hey, you know what? We will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, friends. Thanks.
Moon Knight!
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.